Good morning once again. This is time for chemistry. In our last lesson, we discussed sucrose as a major component of disaccharides. What are other components of disaccharides? Yes. Victor, can you help us? Ugumba, can you help us? We have maltose and we have lactose. And in the last lesson, I told you to read up maltose and lactose and form your notes on that. If you have not done that, please do so. Today, we are going to learn polysaccharides. Polysaccharides. By the end of this lesson, every student should be able to define polysaccharides, give their components, and write their general molecular formula. Number 2 objective. The student should be able to discuss and appreciate occurrence of starch and its formation in plants. 3. The student should be able to explain production of starch in large quantity and give their uses. Now let's go to the definition of polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are non-sugars formed by the condensation polymerization of monomers such as glucose. You have done polymerization before. What is polymerization? You remember polymerization is an addition reaction. Polymerization is addition of smaller molecules called monomers into a macro compound. So polysaccharides are non-sugars. They are formed by condensation polymerization of monomers. And the components of polysaccharides are starch, cellulose, and glycogen. These 3 components, starch, cellulose, and glycogen, are structural isomers. They are isomers because they have the same general molecular formula, C6H10O5N, where N may be 25 and above. So the empirical formula or the smallest formula of polysaccharides is C6H5O5. Let's go to occurrence. Starch, as a typical example of polysaccharides, occurs naturally in all green plants. In the roots of some plants such as yam, starch occurs. For example, in potatoes, cassava, carrot. Starch can also occur in fruits, as we have in mango and pawpaw. Yes, starch, some elements of starch occur in mango and pawpaw. Then in seeds, it occurs in cereals. It occurs in cereals. Give me some examples of cereals. Yes, who can help us? We have maize, guinea corn, millet, wheat, and rice. We eat all these cereals, so we know them. Having been through with polysaccharides, their components, their general molecular formula, and occurrence, let's go to formation of starch in plants. What is the process of forming starch in plants called? Who can help us? Naji, Mwago, can you help us? Have you forgotten your biology? All green plants synthesize starch naturally by the process called photosynthesis. The process of forming starch in green plants or plants is called photosynthesis. The green pigment, which is the chloroplast, absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, while the roots of plants absorb water. And in the presence of sunlight, glucose is synthesized with liberation of oxygen. So in the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is absorbed by the green parts of the plants while oxygen is given off. The equation of the reaction is as follows, as you will see when you download your notes. The glucose produced undergoes condensation polymerization to form macromolecules of starch, which is then stored in the different parts of plants. Like we said, in the roots of yam, starch is formed. In the roots of cassava, starch is also formed. Now, let's look at production of starch. Production of starch in large quantity. Starch is produced in large quantities from starch-containing substances such as cassava as follows. If we can itemize it, number one, we first of all peel the cassava tubers, wash, grate, and extract with water. This one, we do that at home when we prepare garri, for example. You know how to peel cassava, you know how to wash the cassava, and you can take it to engines. They are available there at Oye or wherever you're living. If it is grated and then water is poured, the starch granules will be extracted. Then the second process is to sieve the aqueous solution to obtain a milky white suspension and allow it to settle, just like we do when we prepare akam. You know that. Then we decant the liquid on top carefully, dry the sediment in air to obtain starch powder. What are the uses of starch? People that prepare starch, do they just prepare them to throw them away? Are there some uses of starch? Yes. Number one, starch is used as foodstuff. We all use it, and of course, it is a staple food in this part of the world. We eat cassava in form of what? Garri, fufu, and so on and so forth. Yam, rice, maize, potatoes. When processed, it is used in making bread, biscuits, and cakes. So, starch is very, very important in our daily meal in different aspects. Number two, it is a source of dextrin, which is used in the production of soluble starch and gum. Number three, starch is also used in laundry for stiffening textiles. You all do that. Number four, it is also used in producing glucose and alcoholic drinks, etc. Let's look at our summary of what we have looked at this morning. We looked at a definition of polysaccharides. We looked at the components of polysaccharides, which are starch, cellulose, and glycogen. We equally looked at molecular formula of starch and formation of starch in plants, manufacture of starch in its large quantity, and uses. Now attempt these questions to evaluate yourself. Number one, define polysaccharides and write their general molecular formula. Number two, write the equation for the formation of starch in plants. Number three, itemize the steps for the production of starch using cassava. Download the information in your download for your needs. Thank you very much.
Great and glorious and powerful, hearken to the prayers of your children.